The Roman Empire was built on fear. Emperors ruled with iron, and gods were replaced like statues. But one man dared to say, "I serve only Christ." His name became a symbol of courage, and his story, a legend remembered for 17 centuries. He was the son of a noble Christian from Cappadocia, young, wise, beloved by soldiers and even the emperor himself, but his faith was hidden beneath armor. When persecutions began, he saw his brothers thrown into prisons and arenas, and he knew silence had become betrayal. George stood before Emperor Diocletian. Amidst hundreds of soldiers and nobles, he said, "You call yourself a god, but you are a man. The only God is Christ." Silence filled the hall. That moment marked the beginning of his torment. He knew the price of every word, yet he said, "I am a Christian. I serve Christ alone." From that moment, faith became his armor. They scourged him until skin became wounds, then tore him with iron claws, hoping to tear faith away, but a heart that knows truth cannot be clawed out. They tortured him with the rack and the stocks. They stretched him as if to pull Christ's name out of him, yet the more his body was stretched, the closer his soul drew to God. The emperor, unable to get a shout, ordered George to be thrown into a pit with quicklime. White steam rose in a wall. The smell burned the air. For a long time, no one dared to look inside. But when the lid was opened, he was standing alive. His face was covered with dust, but his eyes were burning. Then they put boots on him with nails inside and forced him to walk on the stone. Every step was pain, every movement was torture, but he walked, not because he had to, but because he didn't want the suffering to be a victory for darkness. The crowd watched. Some laughed, some cried, and some whispered for the first time, "If he's still alive after all this, then God is with him." When even steel could not break him, they brought him a cup of poison. The priest said, "If your God is real, drink it." George made the sign of the cross over the cup and took a sip. The poison was potent, but he remained alive. Then they brought him another cup, stronger than the first, and again nothing happened. The people around him began to whisper, and the executioners lowered their eyes. The emperor, enraged, ordered him to be thrown into a cauldron of boiling tar. The flames roared as if the abyss itself had opened. But George entered it calmly, as one enters a river. Everything around him flared up, and then suddenly fell silent. When the flames died down, he emerged unscathed, as if from light. Not even his clothes were burned. He was imprisoned again. At night, the soldiers came to him to bandage his wounds. One of them whispered, "I no longer believe in our gods." And then George replied, "Now you know that faith is not a temple, but a heart." By morning, many of the guards were praying with him. But Diocletian couldn't stop. He wanted to prove that God's power was an illusion. He ordered the soldiers to pierce George with their spears. When the iron touched his chest, the spears broke. The soldiers trembled, and the crowd remained silent. One of the soldiers lowered his weapon and fell to his knees. Then the emperor passed sentence, death, but George smiled. You are taking away my temporary life, but I am going to eternal life. He was taken outside the city, to the road where the sun was rising. He walked quietly, as if he were walking home. Before the executioner, he knelt and prayed, Lord, take my soul, and let those who kill me understand your mercy. The sword flashed, and as the blade descended, the silence became louder than the world. A ray of light appeared above the execution site, bright and pure, a sign that the sky was accepting its warrior. Then people said that after the saint's death, a white rose grew from his blood. It bloomed in the ashes, and its scent was as sweet as a prayer. The legend of George grew like light through darkness. They said that he appeared in dreams to Christians, that he saved cities, that he defeated the dragon. But the dragon is not a monster, it is a symbol of fear, which he defeated with faith. He became the patron of warriors, but his victory is not in battle. His victory is that he did not renounce when his body cried out, renounce. His victory is that his faith remained when everything else was taken away. Empires have fallen, swords have rusted, but the name of George remains, a sign of courage and purity, on shields, in prayers, in hearts, because holiness is not the absence of fear, it is a faith that is stronger than fear.